son Luke is 18 years of age. He is a dedicated follower of Cradle of Filth. I do not like this group at all. Horrible music and horrible posters in his bedroom of devil worship, witchcraft and vampirism. Quite frightening, really, as a parent.
For this programme, Janet has agreed to spend a week on tour with Cradle of Filth.
We on the sky collectively referred to as Cradle of Filth.
Excellent stuff. Hold it. For the memory, that's it. That's good. Cradle of Filth, just a horror story put to music.
Cradle of Filth tend towards the more dark side of life. And I think that's definitely our appeal to a lot of people.
Very good. Bit more cleavage, can we have?
One of the reasons why a lot of people get into what we play, because we genuinely don't give a
That's it, that's good.
Bands of our ilk can be very damaging to the social structure.
That's it, that's cool.
I couldn't give a to be quite honest.
We sort of stand for everything that the normal Christian family would despise, I suppose.
But no matter how much they raise their blood pressure and go blue over what we do to their children, it's not going to make the slightest bit of difference to me.
He thinks that's music. I don't call it music, I call it noise. Men screaming, not singing, screaming.
Yeah, it's make it sound like a dead person singing. I mean, how would a dead person sing?
I think he looks horrible with all that paint on his face. I mean, that is Luke, as I know him. Not that.
Well, we're a geek then.
I mean, I don't call that a geek, I call that a nice young man.
You call that a nerd.
What we're trying to do is provoke a reaction.
We're out to provoke.
Look at the pictures for a start. They're not healthy to me. I mean, look, that one's even got blood in his mouth running out. That's not healthy, is it?
I could quite callously say I don't really give a shit, which is what I really truly feel.
We want to see what is acceptable. In a way, we're just testing the water for what's right and what's wrong.
I mean, we've got a T-shirt that boldly states Jesus as a...
Those T-shirts, are you telling me that looks right?
I like it.
Out there in society where children are,
do you think I like all this stuff with bloody religious
What's
fanatics?
Heidi going to say when she goes to school? And the teacher says, what do you know about religious education to the class? Do you know about Jesus? And Heidi will probably pipe up, oh yes, I know Jesus, he's a...
You cannot blame us for anything. If somebody listens to a Cradle of Filth record and then goes commits mass murder, it's not our fault.
We, you know, the band, are a result of society. So society's to blame.
Even if we wrote a record that all the lyrics will go out and kill everybody now, which we might do for the next album, then it's still not our fault.
If the child is that weak that we're going to influence them enough to do something wrong, then they don't deserve to be born, to be quite honest.
Who wants to live a life to do with dead people and vampires?
There's nothing wrong with dead people and vampires.
It's not normal.
It's not weird. Why is it not normal?
Yeah, but what about when we went into Marks and Spencer's? There's children and they're sort of gawping and they're nearly falling over watching Luke, and you've got the parents saying, don't look, keep walking. That's not right. I don't want my son to be treated like that.
To see for herself whether Danny Filth is in fact the Antichrist, Janet has been invited to join the band for the last leg of their Cruelty and the Beast European tour.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you...
For moral support, she's accompanied by her daughter, Lynn, herself a concerned parent. First stop, Paris, and an in-store signing session for the band to meet and greet the fans and promote their latest album. For Janet and Lynn, the opportunity to observe from a safe distance.
I'm amazed, absolutely amazed at the amount of people that are here. I honestly didn't believe for 1 minute that they could have such a huge following.
And the faces are so young. How can the youth, the youngness, 12 and 13, follow a guy that's into devil worship, witchcraft, sacrifices, culling people. How can they make their minds up at this age group? It's devil's work, and no good will come of it.
That's cool.
Cradle of Filth have just come in now, and the crowds are quiet, excited, and I'm afraid I'm not. I'm quite upset because of what I see out there. I see it in my own son, and I don't like it.
I found it quite overwhelming, really. I know my mum did. I know it upset you quite a lot, didn't it?
Yes, I did.
You took it very personally, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And
It was
just
such an
seeing,
evil atmosphere,
just
anyway.
seeing the band in the flesh quite upset my mum.
The first actual meeting with the band is scheduled to take place in their dressing room before they go on stage. But getting to the dressing room means negotiating the large, enthusiastic and boisterous Cradle of Filth crowd. For Janet, plunged suddenly into a totally alien environment, it is a frightening ordeal. Cradle of Filth's world is living up to all Janet's expectations, and before she confronts the band, she needs space and a breath of fresh air to compose herself.
My own son is involved in that, and I don't like it. They're like animals, you know. It's barbaric. Barbaric. No words.
The band are due on stage any minute and are getting increasingly twitchy.
Wait for me, Mum.
Finally, Janet decides she is sufficiently recovered to meet the enemy, face to face.
Hi, bye. Yes, thanks, you. Hello, I'm Lynn. Hi.
So where's Danny?
Danny. Over here.
Over there.
All right. Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Nice to meet you.
Oh, is that me? Have I done that?
That's it.
Did I do that? Did I do that?
No, okay.
So you've got some real crazy stuff out there.
What?
It's upset me.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's overpowering.
So it's so much power. That's the only way I can describe it.
Oh, you still got 4 days of it yet, so
Get used to
it, yeah.
In an awkward and uncomfortable atmosphere, it is left largely to Lynn to try and discover whether the band really are as bad as they make out. Are they into witchcraft, Satanism and necrophilia? How much of their publicity material is true?
What, the amount of stuff that you put in the Quran, how much is of it?
Well, everything. I wouldn't have said it.
In Quran, you say you're into sacrifices. It's just a shame it's illegal.
Sorry, he was being sarcastic.
Really?
So you didn't mean
So it's
it?
not all true. I mean, the lyrics are so explicit. They're so violent, savage, uncivilized. They really are.
Go that far.
I would.
If you actually read the lyrics, you might learn something else.
Yeah, we're not being anti-Christian whatsoever, really.
You want to see how far you can go, how much you can get
not
away
necessarily.
with.
Sometimes you feel
what?
off, other times you feel quite lenient, you know.
What would you do,
Interested in
though?
beauty
What would
one
you
minute,
do?
and next time very, very angry, want to do something that's a statement. The T-shirt, Jesus, it is about adversity. It's in response to Jesus loves you that we've had forced down our throats, yeah?
Put aside the wording on the T-shirts. Why do the pictures on the front have to be so graphic?
Graphic?
Yeah, I'm just wanting your point of view.
It's not going to agree.
Let's kick off! Kick the table.
Oh, God, don't, please. We've seen enough today.
So I'm going to get
You've
ready.
got to go get ready.
Yeah, we have to get on like stage soon, you know.
I call it evil. I really do. And I feel like catching the first plane out, going home, ripping every poster off the wall and setting fire to every T-shirt. Instead of going and watching Cradle of Filth's first showing, I think I'm going to go back and have a rest. Maybe that will do me more good and I'll feel a lot better tomorrow and probably can cope with it better tomorrow. But I'm sure, I'm so sure that I am not on my own as to how I feel. I think if other parents were here today, they would be as horrified as I have been.
As Cradle of Filth play to a packed house of 1,500 devotees, Janet recuperates and contemplates the prospect of another 5 days on the road. Next stop, Belgium.
I feel very unclean today, and I feel like I need to go to church to be cleansed. I don't think.
Danny got everything his way last night. He'd got his managers round him, he'd got the press round him, he'd got all his friends round him.
And it made him feel very powerful.
And it left me and my mum feeling quite vulnerable and quite alone, really. And I think a lot of our confidence went out the window. But today, if we can meet him on a one-to-one basis, not just Danny, but the rest of the band, I think we'll be able to understand more.
But things do not go as planned. Once inside, it becomes clear that Cradle of Filth are not happy. The sound check is going badly, and they are feeling decidedly uncooperative.
I think really at the moment they feel really threatened because they feel that you're totally in their face. Danny's not feeling well anyway. He's got a really bad throat, and that could be a serious problem with the gig tonight. If it's not a problem with the gig tonight, it could be a problem with the gig tomorrow night. They feel that all you want is intrusive TV and that you're trying to make them out to be something that they're not, that they're going to be painted in this totally black light. And consequently, they don't want to actually actively be involved in this. They don't know what's going on.
When I was coming out, Danny said, "Hey up," type thing, you know.
Danny did come across as quite cold. I don't think he wanted us to be there. He wasn't happy to see us at all. He acknowledged us purely and simply because his manager was there, I think.
Danny certainly wasn't interested, but after some lobbying from Faye, their manager, Stuart and Les are lured across the road by the promise of a nice cup of English tea.
Don't you think the way that you represent yourselves is actually going too far?
No, it's not going far enough.
You don't really?
Yeah,
in what way?
It's like, just because it's not. It's just because what we're doing is ridiculously.
So you think it's acceptable then to represent Satanism and the devil and all that goes with it?
Because I don't believe in it.
Yeah, you don't believe in it, but you expect.
But what about that small portion at the back of the crowd? Does that bother you?
No.
Does it not bother you?
I insist on people thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
But even at 12?
Don't you think that there should... Don't you think that there should be...
independence from being told what to do by teachers and any other authority figure by the time I was 12.
Yeah, but we're all capable of different things at different ages. And I think a lot of teenagers today are looking for an escape in life. And they will latch onto something and take hold of it and let it take them away because they need something. And I fear for the youngsters that they can get hold of something like this. And I think it needs a lot more knowledge and understanding than what they've got at that age.
If you're that stupid that you take our word for something, then you deserve everything you get because we've made our own choices and we have our own opinions and we do not inflict them on other people.
But you do with these T-shirts.
Don't look at them then. Don't look at them.
But we can't stop our children looking at them.
But why can't you be
why do you want to stop your children looking at them?
That's really bad.
Why do you want to stop your children looking? Let them look at them and make their own decision.
We don't believe that Jesus is the C.
that word, right, yeah. We're not saying hurt other people. That, you know, that is never any sort of part of our philosophy.
But the T-shirts are hurting other
people. No, they're not hurting other people. How can you hurt people with, you know, a few letters on a T-shirt?
Some of them are blasphemy.
Ah, right, there you go. Don't give me that word, blasphemy. How many people have been burnt at the stake for blasphemy? Blasphemy, define it. You don't agree. You've said something that we don't agree with, so we're going to burn you.
I don't want my children to be walking round and being encouraged to wear that kind of T-shirt and thinking that it's right and that you're allowed to do it, because it is offensive, and I do think the majority of the population will say that it's offensive, and I don't see why they should be allowed to do it. Earplugs, here we come, if necessary.
Danny's not very well tonight, so we might not be there very long. He's got a sore throat.
Janice and Lynn wait until the gig has started and the crowd settled before sneaking in at the back to get their first glimpse of Cradle of Filth live. After only 3 tracks, Janet and Lynn decide to call it a night. But they have survived their first Cradle of Filth gig.
It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you should ever want to be loved by anyone, it's not unusual.
Having spent most of the previous day sitting in their mobile home waiting for the band to appear, Janet and Lynn are determined not to waste their time in Amsterdam with another boring sound check.
Now start to bring it into left a bit. Do you want to drive, Lo? I wish I'd never got on. Been rushed across Amsterdam to get here, back here, to go and have a cup of coffee with Danny, the leader of the pack. And we were supposed to be going at 4:30, weren't we? And he hasn't arrived. And I think that's just typical. We're just little people that don't matter. We're here as well, and we should matter. We are a part of this, whether they like it or not.
Eventually, Danny and John do appear.
I mean, I know what we do sometimes is a bit beyond the norm, but I think, you know, we come from a different, we have a different viewpoint on life, and I think that what we do is totally acceptable. I think we have every right, every freedom. I mean, one of our shirts, the shirt in question, the only shirt that I consider to be actually offensive, the Jesus is a shirt, yeah? Somebody was arrested, a guy called Andrew Love in America. He was a store clerk from Florida. He was arrested for wearing the shirt, and he faced up to a year in prison for wearing it. Now, do you agree with that? Would you imprison someone for a year for wearing a banned T-shirt that's only words?
No, I'd give you a £10,000 fine. I'm designing it.
Well, they threw it, anyway, they threw it out of court. They have civil liberties. They have the Fifth Amendment that protects their civil rights. And they laughed it out of court. You know, these are words. That's all they are. They're words.
So don't you feel you're exploiting vulnerable minds?
Possibly, yeah, but it could be that, looking at that, but then isn't it also like everybody has their own choice, and it's not, nothing is force-fed to nobody. It's there, take it or leave it, really.
With that one T-shirt in particular, with the nun on the front masturbating and Jesus is a C-T on the back, would you make the same, you know, similar T-shirt, similar style again, as offensive?
Possibly, but I probably think that's, you know...
Or do you think you're above that now? Do you think you're above that now?
No, I don't. We're not above anything. I'm just saying that I think that was the pinnacle of distaste. We couldn't hope to rival it. If there was something as distasteful as that they could come up with, yeah, I should imagine so.
On the face of it, the band are unapologetic and unrepentant, but appearances can be deceptive. Away from the camera's prying eye, it is, apparently, a different story.
Later, I went down to the ladies' room, and this figure sort of floated or drifted towards me, and it was John. And He said, you know, I'm not into devil worship or anything that represents evil. I'm just a normal guy. He gave me a hug, and then Danny floated in on the sea somewhere, and we all gave each other a hug, which I thought was quite wonderful.
Hey, wanneer wordt dit uitgezonden?
I get so mixed up now because they're coming over as friends now, and at the beginning they were enemies. This is where they all mix me up, and I don't know what it's all about.
I am sailing, I am sailing home again, across the sea.
I really did believe that they were more involved in a dark, sinister side, whereas last night they were saying they're not like that. They said a lot of it was tongue-in-cheek and it was just off the cuff and basically giving people what they wanted to hear.
Desperate to meet his idols, Luke, Janet's teenage son, is flying in for the last 2 dates in Dublin. While his mother's been on the road with a rock band, he has, apparently, been sitting at home worrying about her.
A bottle of champagne.
You never have. Where?
Duty free. Yes.
Welcome, Les. Welcome, Danny. Cradle of Filth here in the studio with us, playing in Dublin tonight as we speak. Not just
Lynn, meanwhile, accompanies Danny and Les to a radio interview to witness the Cradle of Filth publicity machine in action.
There's a question actually here I can put to you, which actually came in a letter. You may recognise this. This actually came from Kerrang magazine, and you can give us a comment on this. I enclosed an article from March '97's Metal Hammer, while reviewing Curb Dog's single, Danny expresses a wish to starve them, the Irish, of potatoes again. This is an obvious reference to the famine. It's a pretty ignorant remark considering how many Irish people died of starvation during this time. Almost every Cradle of Filth interview I've heard contains some xenophobic remark like this. How can this band expect black metal to have any kind of effect at mass level if its leading spokesmen display such backward opinions?
Of course, he's absolutely right. I'm a total bigot when it comes to that. No, it's just being sarcastic.
Plain and simple,
yeah, of course it is.
And controversial and provocative. And it's like, we're not xenophobic from the fact that it's like anybody will do.
Every time he's challenged on a comment he's made, it's just sarcasm or off the cuff. It's obvious that he doesn't think about what he's saying before he says it, so he quite obviously doesn't care.
So you're not hungry?
No, I'm right. I just want to meet band.
Don't want to see his mum anymore, he just wants to meet the band.
So, Luke's coming to see you tonight. I mean, how do you feel towards him now after all this? With his mum and his sister following you around, like, in your face all the time?
No, that's not you, that's the BBC. I don't know. I don't know until I meet him, really.
No. So you don't feel...
So what, is he going to be packed off to bed after the show, or is he going to come out on the razz with us?
There we go, off the cuff again. Insulting, insulting.
Hello, man, you whore of sin!
To say Luke is excited would be something of an understatement.
No matter how much I went on at him, he wasn't going to change his mind, he was going to go. He says, I'll be all right, you know, don't worry. But you've got to, I do worry. I'll never change my mind about him going to gigs, never. Don't want him to go. Not ever.
To placate and reassure Janet, Lynn accompanies Luke to the gig and joins him backstage afterwards.
We thoroughly enjoyed every minute, and then after the show we went backstage and we met the band. First time face to face. But he went straight over to Danny and they seemed to hit it off. They got on quite well straight away. I enjoyed seeing him do that. He thoroughly enjoyed that. A lot of hearts opened last night, really. Found the true people inside the evil image. They portrayed themselves to be all this bad and evil and horrific, and they're not all. They're just a bunch of young men that love the mothers just like everybody else.
Tea. Very rock and roll.
I think we was all expecting it to be a bit of a disaster, you know. Beginning of the week, and we didn't really know what the parent was going to turn out like, did we?
Mm. Janet and Lynn are, you know, we've got on very well with them. Had it have been the Reverend Parochial who was supposed to be coming along, I think it might have been a bit more aggro, but that's the only thing. It might reflect badly on the band.
We weren't nasty enough.
Yeah.
They have this image, which I suppose to a certain extent they've got to live up to. And I don't suppose they want it on camera that they're just big soppy lads at heart.
If it wasn't Luke's mum, it could most probably easily be my mum or anybody's mum, you know. It's, you know...
I've got mums.
Yeah. You know, and...
they don't like the T-shirts either.
Yeah. My mum don't like the T-shirts, you know. What?
We've got to turn them inside out when they've washed them to hang them out online.
Yeah.
It's like being on tour with, I don't know.
Your auntie or something.
Yeah, your aunt. It's dead weird, right?
I don't know if a lot of the fans will watch this programme and maybe it might make some difference on them. They might realise that it isn't what they're really about. Might make them think again and realise they don't have to be a devil worshipper to be a Cradle of Filth fan.
Hello there. Yeah, I can see some of the funny sides to it all now. I can laugh about it now.
Who?
Well. I might don a black wig and put some fangs in, you know, and become theatrical, you know.
And you as well. Got to get one off.
But I still fear for Luke when he goes to his gigs.